Howdy, y'all. I did my paper topic on the Jewish temple. It was built by Solomon. He had the help of Hiram, Hiram. This man, the king of tyranny, brought cedar wood and the less expensive cypress wood. In exchange, he got oil, wine, and other things. Solomon built this temple in his 4th year of ruling. It took 7 years to complete, and in the Quorum, it's referred to as the Mikdash, and which means sanctuary. It's not referred to as a house or anything. It's often referred to as the sanctuary. It's a stone building on top of a hill in Jerusalem. It's divided into an inner and outer room. The inner room was where the holy helms, the divider, was housed. This room was only entered once a year on the day of Atonement by the high priest. This room was the most important room to the Jews because it housed the ark. The outer room, the Azaraf, was used for everyday rituals. It was where people came for daily prayers and sacrifices, and that was the main purpose for the temple. With the temple being the centerpiece of worship, it was doing very well. Tribes from all over were coming to worship there because it was so unique. It was such a big building and one of a kind. And it was doing well until Solomon's son Roboam took over. It wasn't anything that he did to make it go wrong. It was what Jeroboam did. Jeroboam built other temples, and so did other leaders and kings that took away from the uniqueness of this temple in Jerusalem. Along with the temple being such a powerful and miraculous place, much of it is argued and questioned about why the building of it and what the destruction of it was caused. The temple scroll, which was one of the largest scrolls found at Qumran, says that the temple was constructed because God commanded it. Eretz Yisi. I don't know how to say it, but that's how you spell it. And it means the Holy Land. The Chronicles and the Quorum community believe David was the main reason why Solomon built it. They believe that Solomon found the tables of Seth, which had a plan for a temple, and basically Solomon went off that plan and built the temple. Regardless, the temple was built, as you see, but then it was destroyed in 586 BCE under Nebuchadnezzar. Can't really say the name. Got a little speech impediment. I apologize. Many believe that the destruction was due to religious impurities and bad practicing, basically. The Sags, Sages, say and teach that the destruction was due to sins of immortality, ideology, and bloodshed, while the Jubilees says that it was due to a consequence of bad religious practices, which basically they both mean the same thing. It was destroyed because of the bad religious practices. Either way, whichever way you want to go, the temple was destroyed. It was no more. 70 years passed, which made it 520 to 515 BCE, until the second temple was rebuilt. So 70 years passed, and it was around 520 to 515 BCE. And the new temple was constructed by Zerubbabel. Zerubbabel made rubble into a building. So he made this into this. And the reason for this, him and Joshua were able to do this because Cyrus which just took over, wanted to be the nice guy, and he released all the Jews that were in exile. So all these new Jews came back, and they built a temple, and it took many years to rebuild. The temple was doing well for about 315 years, until Antiochus IV took over. And he lost a battle to the Seleucids, which completely ruined the temple. The temple was turned into a place of pagan worship, and there were many revolts against this. The main one being the Hasmonean or the Maccabean revolt, which changed the history of the temple. Once the Maccabean revolt was done, the temple regained popularity. But the bad thing is, it was for the wrong reason. The temple was gaining political, and it was becoming much more money-oriented, and falling away from the holiness of the temple and what it was originally meant for. The Dacrames document speaks of God's anger about the house where the sons of Zodiac should have observed the correct service. Basically, there were just so many things going on wrong there, such as marriage, rituals, the calendars. There were many arguments about the purity and how it was polluted. And the temple was struggling. As the religious side was struggling, in 20 BCE, or 2019 BCE, King Herod came, and he redid everything. King Herod changed it for the better. He made this temple, and he made it into a fortress, basically. He made an inner wall, an outer wall. He made it a castle, a fortress that couldn't be destroyed. And it was said that it was built so it couldn't be destroyed. The new temple was more than just a worshiping place. It was a town, it was a city, it was a fortress. There were different jobs within this city. There were doctors, singers, servants, and every week the temple would give different members opportunities to participate in the ministrations and the temple worshiping and the services that were provided at the church to give a sense of importance. With the rising popularity of the temple, it was becoming a more important place for the country to hold, and it showed a sense of power to hold this temple. And around 66 CE was the first Jewish revolt. During this revolt in 70 BC, Titus and the Romans destroyed the temple. Titus and the Romans knew they were going to win. They knew they were going to take a hold of this castle, fortress, temple. It was only a matter of time. Once they reached the walls and they finally breached everything, a Roman soldier, the idiot that he was, didn't listen to Titus, and he threw his match all the way into the temple and caught it on fire. This caused the temple to burn down. Oh shit. Shoot. Titus didn't want to burn the temple down because of so many benefits that could have been received by the temple. But because of his idiot, sorry my French, for his soldier that did this temple, it was destructed and it fell. Virtually every aspect of